Joining me is Meghan Klingenberg of the Houston Dash, and oh yeah, World Cup champion Meghan Klingenberg from Team USA. What a crazy last month it's been for you. Describe kind of what all's been going on. How many cities do you think you've been just since the World Cup ended?
Honestly, no, I can't count. There's no way that I can keep track, but it's been quite the whirlwind, and it's been absolutely wild, but it has been just a blast. And I know that it's great because we get this platform that we get to have and prop up our sport and show how great the women's game is and how great women's sports are in general. So it's been really a fun month, but incredibly busy. One
of the things I want to talk to you about before we get back to the World Cup is what is it like to be in a ticker tape parade in New York City? Describe what that was like and your memories from that day.
Oh man, it was almost as cool as winning. It was really, really something because there was close to 1 million people there, and they were all cheering for us and excited about the USA bringing home the World Cup trophy. And it was just something that I have never been a part of, and very, very, very special.
And then the ESPYs, you did that in the same week. What was that like to meet some of the best athletes? I assume, was there anybody in particular that you were really excited to meet, or it was really neat to finally get a chance to talk to them?
Well, anytime you get to meet people that are at the pinnacle of their profession, it's incredibly special because you get to talk to them and pick their brains about what they did to get there, or kind of their training regimen, different things like that. So that, to me, that was extremely interesting, being able to meet some athletes and kind of hang out with my teammates also, and I got to bring my brother as my date. He has a wonderful date, by the way, just a great kid. It was just an absolute blast.
You won the World Cup. There had to be somebody that you heard from that you weren't expecting to hear from through Twitter, or maybe you got a text or something like that. Was there anybody that you were surprised that you were getting a congratulations from?
Not necessarily a congratulations, but during the World Cup, Michael Keaton, the Batman in my mind, sent a tweet because he's from Pittsburgh as well, and so he sent a tweet saying good luck, and so that was really, really cool. I kept telling everybody Batman was tweeting me.
I want to go back to the World Cup a little bit, and when do you know that you've got the World Cup? I mean, it was a bizarre game because all of a sudden you're up 3-4-0, and what's going on? Was there a moment towards the end of the game where you thought, this is it, I think we just won the World Cup?
No, honestly, not till the whistle blew. Because I've played in games where it's been absolutely wild, and you never know what's going to happen in a soccer game. A lot of times they're low scoring and they can be predictable, but no, not in a World Cup final. You can't take anything for granted. So I didn't know we won until the whistle blew. Absolutely.
What does that moment feel like when you realize you won the World Cup?
It's hard to explain. It's a mix of emotions because my family's there and they have been with me through thick and thin, and so being able for that, it was their dream as well. So when they're there and able to experience, my dream coming true and their dream coming true, it's incredible. You get to, you feel relief because the whistle blew, you feel excitement, you feel pride for your country, honor. So there's all these different things. You can't necessarily put your finger on it.
The moment I think everybody will remember from the United States was the goal by Carli from midfield. That's unusual, I would assume. Have you ever seen anything like that? Have you ever been in a game where that's happened?
No, I've seen that during games on TV. I've seen that during highlights, whatever, but I've never been a part of something like that. And when she scored, it was, one of the best goals I've ever seen.
And Carli, amazing throughout the tournament, and then she comes back with the Houston Dash, and she's player of the way. She's been unbelievable. What is so great about her? What makes her so special?
I think Carli, absolutely can take a game and change it with no one else helping her, and that's always been her best attribute. And you can see that during the World Cup. She's able to take people on and kind of change the course of the game just by herself.
Is she playing the best she's ever played? Is this the best Carli Lloyd that we've ever seen right now? It seems like a game doesn't go by where she doesn't score a goal.
Well, I sure hope she keeps scoring.
Well, let me go back. I want to talk a little bit about your past, and people don't know you were the last cut, I believe, on the Olympic team in 2012. You've talked a little bit about that. I know the experience of being right there, you're that close. They didn't let you on the bench, so you were watching from the stands. Tell me a little bit about what that experience was like, and to come back from that and to make this World Cup team and for all of this to now happen to you.
Sitting in the stands watching your team win an Olympic gold medal is a big kick in the butt. It's something that I never want to do again. I was so proud of them, and I was very happy for them because I've seen how hard they worked, but I also knew how hard I worked. I was there every step of the way with them. And it was great to be able to support them in their goal, and I'm so happy for them. But that's something I wanted to be a part of. And that wasn't something that I was going to let slip through my fingers ever again.
I think of the movie Miracle, and of course, based on the true story, Herb Brooks was the last cut from the 1960 Olympics. He comes back as a coach and wins the great Miracle on Ice. And was that a story that you knew, or was there an inspiration for you as you were going through all of that, and something that maybe was pushing you as you were trying to make the U.S. team for the World Cup?
Of course I know the Miracle story. I don't think many people don't know that story, but I wanted to make my own story, and I don't really focus on any other athletes or what they're up to or what they're doing, I guess, unless I'm trying to figure out better ways to train or better ways to do something in my sport. I focus on me and what I'm doing and my potential, because I don't think you can compare yourself as an athlete to anyone else, because you have your own story, you have your own talents, you have your own strengths, and you have to be able to use those to the best of your ability that will help your team, that will help you get on the field. And listening to other people's stories has never really been something that's high on my priority list, because I've always wanted to make my own and write my own.
Yeah, well, you've done that, and as a defender, you went something about it seems like 3 months, but it was a lot of minutes where you guys did not give up a goal in the World Cup. Is that something I think you look back on? Was that something you'll be most proud of from all of that?
Yeah, not letting up a goal for however many minutes it is or was makes me extremely proud of my teammates, of my coaches, of our style of play, because we worked on that. That's something that has been a priority, high on the priority list since last summer. So being able to work on that and actually getting the results that we wanted was something that made me incredibly proud, and I was just so happy for my teammates because I knew how hard they had worked and the amount of effort that they put in to make it as hard as possible to score on us.
When you grew up, you're not the biggest person in the world, not the tallest person in the world. How do you get to the point where you think, I can be one of the best athletes in my sport? I mean, when I was in 7th grade, I was called Smurf and by the basketball coach on the team that I was played on. So I know what it's like to be the short guy, and I just looked at it and said, well, maybe sports isn't my thing if the coach is calling me Smurf. So how do you get to that point where you go, hey, I'm small, I'm not that big, I can still be one of the best in the world at this thing?
Actually, Anson Dorrance, my coach at UNC, called me Hobbit. So, but quite frankly, I don't really understand why anybody ever doubted me because of my height. That has never been an issue in my mind. That's never been something that's ever held me back, because I've always been able to find ways to rely on my strengths as opposed to my weaknesses. And quite frankly, I don't even think it's a weakness anyways. It's just something that is. And it's not something that I can change, so it's just I've never focused on it. So being able to, rely on my strengths as opposed to relying on my height is something that I've always done, and I'll continue to do.
You're still staying with Jeff Van Gundy. Can you believe what a big deal that turned out to be? We covered Jeff with the Rockets, and he's was a little bit grumpy as a coach. What is Jeff like to be around on a daily basis? Yeah,
he's definitely not grumpy. I guess ask maybe his teenage daughter, and she would say something different. But no, he's great. I love being around their family. They're really incredible people and super down to earth, and you would never think that they are, a famous family. So,
is it hard for him, you think, to not give you coaching advice? Does he give you a coaching? Did he say anything before you went to compete in the World Cup?
He said, "Win or don't come back." But no, yeah, he honestly is a really great coach in the sense because he understands what the players need, and I can see that through the way he interacts with me and Morgan. He's not going to give unsolicited advice, but if we need advice, he'll absolutely sit down and talk with us.
Last thing, I know there's a lot of girls out there that are just now starting to look up to you, and they come up to you and they want to ask you questions. What would you want to get across to the little girl that's wanting to play sports? She's wanting to excel. What would you want to tell her to make her believe the way that you believe?
Honestly, my biggest piece of advice for kids that are doing anything, playing sports, wanting to be president, wanting to cut hair, whatever they want to do, being a teacher, is to be the best that you can in everything that you do, because no matter what, then you can be proud. Even if you're not world class, even if you're not Leo Messi, even if you're not on the U.S. women's national team, you can still be proud because you reached your personal excellence.
Well, that's a member of the World Cup champion Team USA, Meghan Klingenberg. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for the time.
Appreciate it.
You're listening to Houston Sports Talk.